We're back with Dennis Barrera, Assistant Director of Admissions for Montgomery County Community College. And now that we know a little bit more about the college, Dennis is going to take some time to speak with us about the application and evaluation processes.
I'm happy to do so.
So to begin with, let's just discuss the process of applying to Montgomery County Community College, beginning with the basics. So what are the requirements to apply to the college?
The requirements are to complete the application. It's downloadable through our website, mc3.edu. Once you do that, we do need verification of that equivalent of a U.S. high school diploma. This can take the form of transcripts, certified copies of the diploma itself, as well as a statement of marks, things of that nature. The second, or the third element actually, is the financial statement. Students do have to show a financial statement balance of about $22,000 in a savings account. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the student's name, but if it isn't, that person must also complete a notarized affidavit of support. Only if the students are applying from outside the United States do they have to submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. Many of our students are actually transferring from other institutions inside the United States, and they can simply come on campus and take our ESL placement test to determine ESL placement. With that, those are the major requirements of the application. Some students, we do ask them when they enroll to also submit their immunization records, but those are the full requirements to enter the college.
And next, can you outline your application deadlines and the basic process that the students would go through to apply?
For students that are transferring from another institution in the United States, we ask them to send us an email at admissions@mc3.edu because we practice something called rolling admissions, meaning there's not a hard deadline to submit your application, but as the semesters draw near, we do advise, we like to work with every student to make sure that they're properly enrolled by the start of classes. Classes for the fall semester usually start in late August, and then classes for the spring semester usually start in mid-January. If you're applying from outside the United States, then there is an application deadline, and that's July 1st for the fall semester and November 1st for the spring semester. And then this is so that we can process the I-20 paperwork and have it to the student in a timely manner for the interview.
Now, Dennis, do you find that there are certain pieces or parts of the application process that tend to confuse international students? And if so, what are they?
I think there is one important piece, and that is the TOEFL and the IELTS requirement. Many students, and this is commonplace with a lot of other institutions, feel that they need to score a certain minimum in order to be admitted to the college. And that's not the case. The reason we ask for the TOEFL and the IELTS is so that we can assess how much ESL is required prior to taking those college-level courses. It helps us hold the spot for the student as they're entering the school itself, rather than us assessing ESL a few days before the semester begins. So students must take these tests, but there is no minimum to gain admission to the college. If students want to be waived of any ESL, then they have to score above a certain mark, or they have to earn a TOEFL score of 79 or higher on the IBT, or 6.5 or higher on the IELTS.
Dennis, you explained to us the idea of open admission and how community colleges work on open admission. But can you walk us through the process from the time that an international application is complete and submitted to you until a student receives their decision?
Sure. It happens at a much more rapid rate than, say, a four-year institution. When the application comes into the office, one of the things that we do is to make sure that we either have the original documents or that we have certified copies of everything that we need. One of the documents that we closely inspect will be the financial statement, affidavit of support, as well as the transcript or diploma. This is so that we verify that the student definitely has the U.S. equivalent of the high school diploma or completion of secondary school, or if they have university credits, Some students will want to transfer those credits in. The possibility does exist, but we do ask for a course-by-course evaluation from a provider like World Education Services or educational credential evaluators. Any evaluator that's approved by NACES can be used when students are applying to us. Once we go through all these documents and they meet the minimal requirements, we immediately send the admissions letter along with the I-20.
And then the students get to celebrate.
And the students get to celebrate, yes. Well, celebrations continue once they come on campus as well. So there's a big celebration and orientation.
As an open admission college, what is it that you look for to accept a student?
It really is, it's really just a bare bones diploma, the minimum diploma requirement, and then any student who's just proactive in getting their admissions criteria in, the very few admissions criteria in. Mm-hmm. It's different from a four-year college. I mean, there's no committee that, dissects different elements of an application that, the traditional recommendations, the essays, did they do extracurricular activities, did they take any biology courses, what is it that's so special about the student that they should be honored to come to our institution. Mm-hmm. The mission of community college is to be very inclusive and to be accessible to those that are interested in getting a quality education. Mm-hmm. So the dynamic is very different in that we don't do any of those things. We don't get together in committee meetings and read over applications. Mm-hmm. It's really a matter of processing and working with the student to make sure they're reaching their educational goals.
So Dennis, are there any situations in which an international applicant to Montgomery County Community College would be denied admission to the college?
The only scenarios I can think of are, one is the student doesn't have the equivalent of the high school diploma. They still need to graduate high school or show the documentation necessary to enroll in our college. That's the one minimum requirement we have, and we need to keep that so that we can stay regionally accredited. And it's maybe happened once in the 6 years that I've been with the college, but if on an off year that the student needs a certain level of ESL and that particular course isn't running that semester, then we're just not providing the classroom for the student. With the students now submitting standardized test scores for English, we're able to create cohorts at a much earlier time, and that eliminates that problem. We haven't seen that problem in about 4 years.
So how, if at all, does the application process to Montgomery County Community College differ for international students than it would for, say, a student from Pennsylvania?
The international students must provide that statement of support. And this goes along the lines with what's handed down to us from the State Department and the SEVP, the Student Exchange Visitors Program. And it's the stipulations of the F1 visa. The students are there to study and they need to be self-funded. So that's the only true additional requirement, and also the immunization at the time of enrollment. Just provide documentation for that. Those are the only true, I would say, unique qualifiers for admission to the college.
I was hoping that you could address a popular myth that I hear a lot. International students, will often believe that a college has a quota or a limit on how many international students they can accept, maybe overall, or how many students from a single country. Right. Do any such quotas or limits exist at Montgomery County Community College?
They do not. We accept all students from all different kinds of backgrounds, and we've got students from pretty much all over the world. Even then, one of the unique characteristics about our community of Montgomery County is that we have a rather large South Korean immigrant community. Mm-hmm. With that, about 50% of our international students are from South Korea. So they have the connections to the community there while they're getting their quality college education about 5 miles away from where that community is based. So we've never done a quota and said, oh, we've got too many Korean students, we have too many students from Saudi Arabia. We just accept them as they come in.
We'll take another quick break, and we'll come back to speak with Dennis about the pieces of the application.